Something that I'm looking forward to seeing a lot that I haven't seen yet. I heard you played it, the EA Sports MMA game. How's that coming along?
It's coming along great. I mean, I actually, I was here in Europe this week. I flew home for the weekend to San Francisco to attend a press conference. We announced Randy Couture, and I also went to the fight that night, the Strikeforce fight.
Ouch.
Yes.
Gina Carano was...
Gina it was painful to watch. I was cage side, and she ran into a buzzsaw called Cyborg, and it was a little bit of a mismatch, much to the disappointment of a very, very partisan crowd that wanted Gina to win. She's obviously a fan favorite, but I don't think she'd ever run into a fighter quite as capable as Cyborg. And even though if you watched it, it was like 1 second to go in the first round, I don't think Gina was going to get out of the second round, even if it had gone through. So it was a shame, but I think it was very interesting to see that you had a very strong card of men, but the real headliner was two women, two very capable women, and
first time ever, I think.
I mean, and certainly living in the Bay Area, the fight card had been hyped up very, very aggressively with a lot of advertising. They got a very good crowd there in San Jose. It was live on Showtime, which is a pay-per-view channel in the U.S. But you know, it really validated for me, as it continues to do, the power and the growth of mixed martial arts.
It's one of those sports that's, I think it's going to take a while to really nail it down. I mean, I feel that the latest UFC game was a vast improvement on what's been done before, but the sport is just so multifaceted that it's going to take a while.
And we are in for the long run. This is not, we're going to try it once, see if it works, and then back away. We have the benefit of a tremendous engine that we can apply, which is our boxing engine, obviously, in Fight Night, as the basis for some of the fighting mechanics. And then we also have the power of what EA Sports brings to a particular sport. So we're very proud to be involved in mixed martial arts, and we think there's plenty of room in the sport itself for 2 video games, and we think it's healthy for the sport to have competing games like that, and we think we can grow the market, and that's our intention. We're going to make a lot more announcements over the coming months of building our fighter roster, but you know, to your point, it's in a similar situation we've got with Muhammad Ali versus Mike Tyson. The only place you'll ever be able to have those two fight is obviously in Fight Night Round 4. Fedor versus Randy, which is you know, a really if it could happen, I mean, fight fans would love it. Obviously, I think there's 4 or 5 heavyweights in the world that people will love, you know, the Brock Lesnar's of this world as well. But Randy is such an icon. I've got to know him over the last few months as I've met him a few times. Such a well-balanced individual, a gentleman, and a tremendous, if you will, proponent of the sport, who has done very well, who's built businesses around the sport, helps the sport grow, very articulate. There's no announcement there yet, but the more I get to see it, I think that, particularly as I was over here last week when the Olympic Committee announced boxing for the Olympic sports for women, and I think it shows how much more open-minded we are about women getting involved in sports like that, which traditionally they've been, quite frankly, blocked from doing for whatever reason, I don't know.
When you mentioned Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson, I was thinking, like, would it be possible to bring some of the MMA legends in that have retired or aren't fighting?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a question of licensing, and you can look at, and depending on where they are, do they still own their image rights? Can I... You know,
that has been a bit of a problem, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's complications. You know, did they fight? You know, where were they fighting? When they were fighting? Do they still maintain the image rights? Do I need to be able to negotiate, you know, with particular leagues or fighting circuits and what have you? So there are some complications, but I think ultimately, the same as we do with Fight Night, there's as much interest in the legends. You know, we look at telemetry, and people love to play as Ali, as Tyson, as Joe Frazier, as much as they do with the more modern fighters like a Manny Pacquiao or a Ricky Hatton. So our telemetry tells us that, and I think ultimately as MMA, maybe 10 years from now, you'll be looking at the great fighters of today being legends, and then you can have, if you can resolve all the licensing issues, you know, legends fighting against modern-day fighters.
I mean, speaking of that, would you be interested in striking a deal with UFC if that was at all possible?
No, we're great fans of UFC. We're great fans of the sport. UFC has a license with THQ, as you know, and certainly, you know, that license is proving out to be successful for both of them. So we need to you know, continue this business strategy of being involved in mixed martial arts, which we developed about 2 years ago now. We're in our second year of full development of the game, and it'll be shipping next year. And right now, there's no opportunity for that. So our goal is to build a presence in mixed martial arts with what we have available for us to license. And right now, that's individual fighters. There are a lot of up-and-coming leagues and circuits that we have an interest in. We love the geographic diversity of MMA. You know, I'm hopeful that there's going to be a strong European presence. Obviously, Japan is important in MMA. Brazil. You know, when you think of the Brazilian fighters that you see. So what is it that we can bring, quite frankly, that differentiates ourselves versus the current game in the marketplace?
Right. Thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.